Okay. All right. Intermission is over. So everybody hearts and minds are clear about the verses segment. It went really long. I didn't think it was gonna be that long, but that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so still on music, Kanye has been such a big topic for the past, I feel like month. You
Yeah.
know, I went to his first listening party in Atlanta, and I'm just gonna do like a real quick overview of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as we were awaiting him to hit the stage or floor or field, whichever you prefer, there was no music playing. It was just chatter, and then he came out, and it was just like a spotlight, and he walked back and forth. And now, like hindsight, like looking back, for starters, he never said anything. So like he just let the album play, and he kept walking back and forth. And I think he was like honestly trying to figure out like what songs people responded to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people where I have to like listen to the music like alone in the headphones, like really like listen, and unpack the bars and stuff. But the beats and
Mm-hmm.
production was definitely yay level. You know, I mean,
Okay.
he's a genius when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
But he had another show because after my show, he was supposed to drop an album. He never did. So then he went back in the studio, and there was this thing where he was staying like in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He built a studio in there. He was sleeping there. He live streamed his whole experience. He had a lot of artists coming in and out. Hove recorded. Kid Cudi's on the album. Baby, the Locks eventually were flown in, and they did a verse for the album. So like he's still working on it, but there was a second show.
Mm.
Last week, and a friend of mine went, a good sister friend of mine went, and she was saying that like there was this whole production, there were dancers, and I was like, yeah, I'm pissed because y'all got like more of like a show, and we got like it was like a real listening party for us.
Okay.
So before we get into the next topic of discussion, because the topic is cancel culture, but I want to check the temperature on Donda and how y'all feel about Ye. Just Ye, not cancel culture. So how do y'all feel about Donda and like the debacle that it's become? Because he had a second show and it still hasn't dropped the album. Thoughts, or do we want to go right
I'm
into
gonna play devil's advocate at this point. It's crazy because you're talking about cancel culture, and I feel like I could be.
Well, we don't want to get into cancel culture just yet.
Falling into that category, right?
We don't want to touch it at all, sis. We just want to talk about just the Donda album,
Well,
and then we're gonna do a whole deep dive.
That's what I was gonna mention, though. Like, it's not something that I've been even focused on. Kind of like it's
okay,
like I'm not.
So you haven't,
like, because I'm done with Kanye.
Okay, and we'll unpack that. We'll unpack that.
Okay.
How about you, Kim?
I'm eager to hear this.
Okay.
I am eager to hear the Donda album.
Right, but how do you feel about him teetering? Like, okay, I'm doing this show. Okay, actually, I'm about to drop an album. This is the album before my show.
Okay. I feel like this is a huge marketing strategy. I feel like this is a huge marketing strategy, and it doesn't justify the fact that he has his fans waiting for his album to drop that was supposed to drop prior to his show, I believe, or the day of first listening party. So I would say it's a circus.
It's a circus. Yeah, I agree.
This album release is a circus.
I agree.
And I don't know if it's a total circus because of what he's going through mentally, or the marketing strategy he's trying to do, or damage control. I don't know because there's always a reason behind something. So I don't know what the reason behind it is, but I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's a circus at this point, and it needs to drop, and I'm ready to hear it.
Absolutely. So I knew that segment will be real quick, and we can just get into cancel culture. So cancel culture is such a big topic. regardless of what circle you're in.
For sure.
You know, like it's just such a big topic. And I think, and I didn't even say this, the topic of this episode is called Yeezy Taught Me, you know, because so I went to Yeezy show on like a Thursday. And then Friday, I flew to New York and I created like all my talking points in this entire episode after it. And it really inspired me. So let's start with this. What is y'all's definition of cancel culture? And we could start with you. What's your definition of cancel culture?
Well, I would say for this generation, cancel culture is almost like, I don't like what you said. I don't care if you have a voice. I don't care if you have your own thought process. I don't care about this. I'm going to cancel you. Yeah. Cancel culture is also, I'm picking and choosing who I cancel. Cancel culture is also, you're canceled, I'm done with you. And some people really stand 10 toes on some artists that they're done with. Some get flip-floppy. So depending on who you are and who the artist is determines what cancel culture is to you. Because like I said to you the other day with Kanye West, he cut up a storm and people are welcoming him back in with open arms. I used the example with Chrisette Michelle. People cut up on her and they still don't want to hear shit from Chrisette. So what's they both was in Trump face. She's performing for Trump and Kanye got the head on and he's running around with slavery was a choice, the whole 9 yards. I'm gonna just say that.
It's the same thing. Yeah, and you feel like that people are harder on Chrisette than they are on you.
People were definitely harder on her. Definitely harder on Chrisette. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill or Yana. I'm sorry.
The cancel culture basically, to wrap it up, the cancel culture basically depends on who you are as a person and what artist you're canceling.
Okay. All right, Bill, what's your definition of cancel culture?
My definition, I would say, is just really Black people, right? Black community, canceling an artist that like just going based off of hearsay, right? And that goes back to just being hard on each other. I think that we're so hard on each other sometimes, and it shows. Like, I think that the cancel culture is not, it's one of many things. We could talk about this in so many, the crab in the barrel mentality. We could talk about this in so many different ways, but this is just one example that shows that we so quick to throw away our own people.
If you were a preacher and there was a collection plate going around, I would throw you a couple of 20s, but continue.
Yes.
That's the word.
You know, just based on what they hear. Like, we see one meme and we run with it, right? We don't even stop to think or to explore, why am I really going to throw this person away completely, right? Before finding out. And then when you look at other cultures, you can see that their people have mass murderers, right? Mass murderers, rapists, right? And they still have a unity that is unstoppable. So I think that we should just think before we just are quick to throw away our own people. We got enough against us. We are not on the good side at all. We are at the bottom of the barrel. We literally get the shitty end of the stick. So the last thing we need is to be canceling each other. Like, hello, like they want to put us against each other. That's the goal. Y'all fighting. Oh, men hate women. Black men hate Black women. Black women hate Black men. Black women hate Black women. Black men hate Black men. Oh, great. We're doing our job. You know what I'm saying? So we got to really look at, it's bigger than us, and we have to unify. Whether I was watching a podcast video the other day, and the woman said, we could still do business together even if I don't like you. And I thought that was so powerful, because in the Black community, we don't do that. I don't like you. I don't like what she said, or she hang out with this person, or she did this to make me get my feelings. So the business deal is off. Like, we don't think long-term benefit for the community. We just quick to just throw people away. Friendships, we do it in friendships. We just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I started with that question because, you know, I just feel like that social media is a place for the mindless. You know, people don't really think, people retweet, you know, and they aren't considering all of the factors that go into like something like cancel culture, right? So like, I'm gonna just be completely transparent. You know, when Kanye said all of that stuff last year, I was disgusted. Slavery was a choice. He was running around declaring himself to be a Trump supporter, and I was very disappointed. As a big fan, anybody who know me know that I love Kanye.
Yeah.
You know, Benedict College, Mather Hall. I mean, I saw him during like late registration days. I went to that concert
before he lost his mind. Yeah.
Yeah, first album, like.
Wait,
and we'll unpack that. Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
But you
because
know,
Bell had to slip that in.
Wait. So late registration.
Right.
I'm that type of fan.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, every morning in Mather Hall, if you stayed on the second floor in 07.
At our HBCU, that's our HBCU.
Benedict College, if you stayed on the second floor in Mather Hall every morning, Nike Jackson, shout out to Nike.
Can't Tell Me Nothing. She would play Can't Tell Me Nothing. And
I will always start every morning with good morning. And everybody, but every morning, that's how I got my day started.
Kanye,
so like, I'm a Kanye stan. So like when he did all that fuck shit, because that was not a reflection of what I felt who he was. I was extremely disappointed, you know, but at the time I didn't look at it as disappointment. I looked at it as disgust, and I was like, I'm done with his ass. I unfollowed him on every social media platform. I blocked his name on Twitter. I didn't want anything to do with Kanye because I was so disgusted. And then, you know, I said,
but we can also say, go ahead.
Hold on. Let me finish. And then I thought about, you know, okay, it took me seeing him at that concert. And then, I don't know, I just felt like it was, it was God. It was God. Not saying that God was speaking through Kanye, but I think God, the discernment that I have in me, because I am a believer, you know, I start to think about him losing his mother and his journey with mental health. So I always sympathize with him, and I'm like, well, you know, I just began to see him as human. You know, because, you know, mental health is something that none of us can wrap our heads around unless we've experienced it. Now, I do know that, you know, life is hard and we all experience challenges and stuff like that. But I couldn't imagine being in a body and having a brain where I feel like, you know, like impulsive. Everything is just like a lot. It is a lot. So I just over sympathized for him, and I just gave him grace. You know, who am I to write somebody off? I couldn't imagine being in a space where, like, you know, like there's like a chemical imbalance in my brain where I feel like, damn, you know, I can't process shit. So I was like, damn. Like,
empathy and compassion.
I was literally sitting in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I was like, for a minute, I stopped and I prayed for him. I swear to God could strike me. I prayed for him in that stadium because I was like, I could not imagine, like, you dealing with grief and you dealing with mental illness. It's different. You know, so I'm sorry. I just kind of went on a tangent.
No, don't be.
But yeah, I mean, I brought up cancel culture to unpack it because, and I'll just start off with this and then we can unpack. Like, I just feel like that for Black people, we are so quick to cancel our own. There are so many brands, so many stores, Starbucks, Gucci, all of these different people who have embedded policies in their infrastructure that do not consider us. And this is facts. You know, we walk into the Gucci store, they're looking at us like, what? Why the fuck are you here? Why the fuck are you here? And we give these people grace, we'll still give them our dollars. But when it comes to one of us, if it's just us and it's not like an organization attached to a Black person, if it's just Melanie versus the world and I'm a pop star and I do some fuck shit, people like, oh, this bitch said that, you know, this, that, and the third. Oh, fuck her. We not fucking with her. But white people, if you talk to them about Elvis Presley, and I'm not trying to I'm just saying it what it is. I'm not even gonna give a disclaimer. If you talk to white people about Elvis Presley, he's still the king of rock and roll. Although he was a pedophile, he married a 15-year-old girl. This is factual information. Donald Trump, he is the opposite of a patriot. He encouraged his supporters to go against the Constitution that Americans, okay, the Americans who have the flag attached to their pickup trucks, those Americans, they claim that the Constitution is the end all be all. They believe that Blue Lives Matter, but on the day of or the day before Inauguration Day, or January 6th, I think it was, when they did the attempted coup, they tried to overturn the very government that they deemed to be so, sacred. And even after all that, Trump supported all of that. They still supporting him. I was just in North Carolina on a vacation with my family, and for some odd reason, we were right across the street from the Republican headquarters of that town. And they had big ass Trump signs. Can't make this shit up. Emerald Isle is where I was. The revenge tour, Trump 2024. So they still believed in him. They don't give a fuck. He could say grab you by the pussy. It does not matter. They protect their own.
In the beginning of the introduction of the cancel culture topic, I feel like I said basically, how I felt about it. I feel like, people are wishy-washy, very flip-floppy, and 1 minute they canceling you, 1 minute you back on, and a lot of times people are canceling people for things that people are human, and they're canceling people off of things that are upsetting them, or I just feel like I'm gonna just say it's simple. I just feel like it's stupid, this cancel culture. It's not fair to everyone. And I agree with Belle. We gotta give our some grace. So that's all I gotta say about cancel culture, honestly.
Go ahead, Belle.
Yeah. And also I think another part that we're missing is just like this industry is a beast. It's a beast. Like, it was the song with Drake and Jay-Z. I forgot the name of it, but they talked about how this industry, not Cupcake. I'm gonna find out. But it was Jay-Z, and they just talk about how this industry would turn you into a beast. Just the money, just all of the hidden things that we don't see that's going on behind closed doors. I just feel like a lot of times we miss that. And that's the part, like going back to what Melanie said, in terms of just having empathy and compassion for what that life is like, or having all that money is like, all those distractions are like, all of the brainwashing that's going on behind it, the mental health issues, the drugs. It's a lot that we're not seeing, and it's no different from what used to happen with the Temptation, the 5 Heartbeats, like strung out on drugs, what we've seen with so many of our artists, Black artists, and what they go through when they get into that. It's a different life. It's just like the streets. The streets change a lot of people. They're not the same people they used to be. You could look at some people you've known your whole life, and the streets turn them into a cold person, a beast. So I think that we got to keep that in mind too. And like I said, it's not to excuse anyone, right? Because some people, like if we're gonna talk about it, R. Kelly, right? At the end of the day, yes, you talented, absolutely. We're gonna give you that, but you 100% fucking wrong. We're not gonna excuse that. Right? Because that's not what we want to teach our children either. However, I think we should just always think twice before we are quick to cancel too, because it just makes me, I'm gonna close out with this, like it makes me think of the Malcolm X quote when it says the newspaper, the media will have you hating the people, hating the innocent, and loving, the people that are oppressing them. And we just have to keep that in mind. Like even with this debate situation, like we buy into all this stuff. Like, are we forgetting that this is the enemies? The media is the enemies. They're gonna say and put things out that may not always be true. It happens in the workplace. Black people, we are targeted. No matter where you work, you're targeted. There was a woman in Wendy's the other day. She recorded herself, and her white manager was calling her a bitch. Multiple fucking times. That was sick. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, like I said, have to deal with it from so many angles. So I'm not saying don't quit to cancel, but still think about, should I really cancel this person without doing the whole the whole spill. Like even with Felicia Rashad, who just got promoted. People got to think about the whole picture. She just got promoted at Harvard, right? Few months later, they fire her now because they said she said something about her supporting Bill Cosby. She said free Bill Cosby or something like that.
I didn't like that.
Well, hold on. Did she get fired?
They let her go from Howard. Well, the student board, it was a written document, and they said that they didn't appreciate, like they wanted to investigate it further, but they was like, she was under the detecting eye because she said free that. So they said, they represent being anti-rape. You know what I'm saying? So like
I know they put out a letter,
a statement, yeah, but did they really let her go?
Yeah, I know they said they was going to investigate it. Then they put two things out. They said they were going to investigate it. Then they came back with another statement, saying that we are going to move along with Felicia. That's what I thought.
That's what, yeah.
Right.
So because I googled because I was just
in terms of being targeted, though.
Jesus, Yana. We have to get to a point where we are able to decipher, like, okay, like, here's my thing. All of us have been in a position where we were corrected, right? Am I the only one?
Yeah, definitely.
There was a time where in your life where you didn't know then what you know now.
Absolutely.
Period. So because of that, life is about teaching. There are going to be moments where you're going to experience teaching. You're going to be corrected.
Yeah.
And because you're going to be corrected, you are then afforded grace. But just this conversation could go on and on, and it could go wherever way y'all want it to go. But I just feel like that I want us to get to a place, as Black people, where we are not canceling each other because of opinions. Because to me, that is bizarre. As long as your opinions are not oppressing, other marginalized people, whatever, preference is preference, but I just think it is harmful. We do a disservice to ourselves because I see it only in our community, like, people are so on board to cancel the baby. I have worked for the last 2015, 2016. I've started working in the HIV AIDS field, and it's 2021. I've worked in this field, HIV AIDS, for all of these years. And I guess I could deem myself as an advocate years, but maybe 3-4 years ago, Black women were number one. We were the number one group of people to be infected by HIV AIDS.
Right.
You understand me? So it's just like, like he just sounded very ignorant. And that's how I feel.
And really it's the hypocrisy for me. Like, it's like, okay, y'all want to cancel him for making these remarks, but you got majority of female entertainers are over-sexualized. We know that young girls below the age of 18 is on social media. Matter of fact, they're probably more on social media than we are because they really don't have anything else to do other than social media. Technology is everything, right? People don't even allow their kids to play with other kids. So, like, come on. It's just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely, Bill. Absolutely.
Yeah. Did y'all want to add?
Cancel culture is definitely trendy. I'll say that. Cancel culture is trendy. And it almost doesn't give people a voice in a sense. Because it's almost like, for instance, and I was speaking to Mel about this, the night at the Versus, some guy, I think, it was a gay guy that was floating, a tweet that was floating around saying he loves Jadakiss skin. He wants to marry Jadakiss.
That was Tyler Creator. Is he gay? I don't know.
People were in the comments like, oh, please don't respond to this kiss. Please don't. Because it's sad that you got to get prepared and walk on eggshells because you don't want none of your faves to respond to certain things. Because if they respond, they might be canceled. It's taking away people's voice in a way. And that doesn't justify the baby's HIV and AIDS comment, but it's taking it's taking some artistry voices away. There are the artists, excuse me, voices away.
Mm-hmm.
Because they feel like
my,
because it's almost like, damn, if I speak on this, then they gonna drag me, or I got different opinion than what Jada Pinkett had on the Red Table Talk. So if I say my opinion, they might drag me for that, or I might get canceled.
yeah. And my thing is it's just a hypocrisy for me. Like overall, like how I just see it when I think of cancel culture, the first thing I think of is the hypocrisy of our people. Like we say one thing when we do another. It's just like, how can you cancel the baby? How can y'all cancel the baby? Well, really the media, because that's who's really pushing it. How can y'all cancel the baby? But again, as a lot of circles have been talking about, how when you got songs like Throat Baby, you know what I'm saying? You got songs so degrading, so disrespectful, so distasteful, so over sexualized, and that's what y'all promoting. But that's okay. The promethazine, the lean, like we talked about earlier, that's okay. That's okay to promote, but somebody saying having free speech, right? That's what y'all say, because the president of the United States has said some crazy shit out of his mouth, just like Melanie said earlier, right? But certain things are passed by. So again, we have to be mindful, like going back to the Malcolm X quote, with it, you know what I'm saying? Believing what the news is telling us, believing the guilty, you know what I'm saying? In terms of that agenda, we have to really just break free from that and be like, I'm gonna assess this for myself and not based on the opinions of everybody else and what the agenda.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason why I wanted this to be a conversation for real, and I'm just gonna mute y'all because I kind of hear an echo. And then I'll mute y'all as soon as I'm done. But the reason why I wanted this to be a conversation for real is because I feel like that we are in a space where, okay, cancel culture is one thing, but if the artist is 20 years old and they haven't experienced life much, where do we come in to the point where we're like, okay, well, you know what? You don't know anything outside of what you've been exposed to, so let me teach you. How are people evolving? How are people growing? You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's important. You don't know no better, different. And I want us to get to a place as a community, because I feel like for some odd reason, cancel culture only impacts us. Trump did all that fuck shit. Oh, excuse me. Trump did all that fuck shit, and people are thinking about voting for him in 2024. Real life.
Sick. I just want to piggyback real quick off of cancel culture. I would say that, you know, we have a lot of new artists in the mainstream right now. And a lot of our new artists are extremely young. Well, a lot of artists come out young, you know, our artists from the 90s came out young. But anywho, to piggyback off of that and talk about our artists, they're very young. A lot of them, they are just saying anything. You know, they're just, you know, they're saying anything. And as you can see with the baby, you know, he was saying something he probably said behind closed doors. A lot of times people say stuff and they get ridiculed for it. It's things that they done said, but it's something that they had already said behind closed doors. And they felt like, hey, I've been saying it, so it's okay. That's like a white person calling a black person a nigga out in Walmart. They've been calling you a nigga behind closed doors, you know? So this is just something that the baby was used to. And this is something that we have to educate him on. It's something that he has to learn. And this should be an example going forward for other artists in his bracket and other artists that are out here now. Like, hey, some things you may say may be kind of, you know, it was a meme floating around that said the baby should have said, sisters, y'all all right? Fellas, how y'all feel? So you know, like, people like, look at Chris Brown. He's been in the game for a minute. He's always in something, but even he spoke up and was like, look, say your piece and shut up and get the off stage.
Absolutely. Period.
So that's what I'll say for cancel culture.
Well said.
You know, our last and final segment, which kind of piggybacks off of cancel culture, is Trumpism. You know, and Trumpism has become this like extremist idea of whatever Trump believes to be true is just true, and his supporters do not question it. And it's kind of scary because Trumpism has overflown into policies and into our school systems. I don't know if you ladies have heard about both Texas and one of the states that I call home, Tennessee. They have implemented these rules in their school system where they are potentially discussing fining schools millions of dollars for discussing racism in its purest form. And it's just scary, you know. A lot of people are discussing critical race theory, which I feel like is white America's way of controlling how they talk about racism, to talking about slavery. How do you feel about being a teacher, standing in front of sixth graders, for example, and then being like, damn, I can't really unpack slavery because I could potentially be fined? What do you all feel about that? Is that question make sense?
Yeah,
definitely.
Like it or not. Slavery is a part of our history. It's a part of our history. And I feel like growing up in our generation, when we were in middle school, when we were can you mute when we were in middle school, our history, you know, we learned about Martin Luther King, we learned about Rosa Parks being on the back of the bus, you know, we learned about Thurgood Marshall, we learned about Frederick Douglass, you know, but they were always leaving things out from us. They were always leaving things out. But when it was time to talk about the Holocaust and Anne Frank, you know, they were letting us know how the Nazis were. They were letting us know the kids being burnt and put in chambers. They was letting us know. They gave us, it was graphic. I remember growing up, going into Washington, D.C., going to the Holocaust Museum as a kid, you know, so I feel like we need to keep it real and we need to keep it real with what history was, what happened in history, because a lot of times, like I said, in our generation, we learned about Rosa and everybody, but it was still some things in the nooks and crannies that they didn't let us know about. You know, the Underground Railroad, okay, it wasn't a real railroad, but that's what we were getting set free from in the North and the slaves. Like, it's just so many things that we were not aware of. I just think it's time to let our kids know the real, what happened, and that, you know, sad part about it, yes, we, you know, our ancestors come from slavery. They were on ships butt naked, you know, having to use the bathroom on themselves. They were shipping us places. They were, you know, and to be real, it's still racism in 2021 today. Let's be real with our kids. Let's be real. That's what I'm gonna say. Let's be real with our children. Because if we could talk about everybody else that was, you know, hurt, and that things that happened to everybody else's culture, let's be real and be fair about our culture and let them know that it still lives today. Racism. Let's talk about Emmett Till. Let's talk about how the woman just I know she didn't recently die, but she died a few years ago or a decade ago, almost maybe early 2000s, you know, and she came out and talked about how he didn't really, you know, whistle at her. Let's just talk about what's real. Let's talk about what's real. That's what I got to say about that. That's it. That's all.
How it is. That was well said, Kim. And the thing about it is that we're still learning more. All that we've been exposed, like we came through in an era, I know me and Mel talk about this a lot. We came through in an era where our fathers was like heavy Million Man March. They went to the Million Man March. They, you know what I'm saying? The Wax Museum, you even know, right? We talked about going to the Wax Museum in Baltimore where you saw the slave ship. You was able to see, what the slaves have gone through, right? So number one, when it comes to this whole critical race theory, buzzword talk, and getting straight to the point, like in terms of them trying to take race and Martin Luther King out the school, it's just like, this is nothing new. Like, I'm not surprised. This is something they've been doing forever. Christopher Columbus, right? July 4th. Now, like I said, we're still learning. We're now just learning about Juneteenth. We're learning about lace. We're learning that it's more than Black Wall Street, that there was millions of Black Wall Street that they covered up with lace. Central Park. okay, was, you know what I'm saying? Central Park,
Come
that
on,
was us.
come on.
You know what I'm saying? So it's still things that we're learning. And I think that when it comes to this, like when it comes to this education system, in terms of them trying to take this out, like the first, I think of two quotes. I think of the quote by Malcolm X where he says, "Only a fool will let his enemy teach his children." And I think about Asada Shakur saying, who is going to, right? No one is going to give you the education to overthrow them if they know that that education is going to free you, right? So it's all about power. Like Kim just said, like they took away reading and writing as a force to control the mind. You know what I'm saying? With slavery, because they knew that, like, again, once you have the mind, you control everything, right?
Who was that? It was Frederick Douglass who got that taken away from him first. So he spoke about that a lot. Frederick Douglass spoke about not learning, being a slave and not being able to learn how to read and write. And we can show our kids that it's racism today. Look what just happened on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is why
2021, like, Capitol Hill, 2021.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to make a quick comment, like while we're on the education talk, I'm releasing a book at the end of this month. I've been working on this. I've been teaching now for 10 years, and I've been working on, y'all already know. Y'all know when it was manifesting, when I was first talking about coming out with this book and my mission and my message to the people. But this is just a call to action to everyone. Absolutely. Right? Because this book is not just for, I'm not coming out with this book just for students. This is for students. This is for parents. This is for lifelong learners, because we all lifelong learners. So really anybody, everyone should be able to get this book, because you will be able to gain something for it. And it's really like my biggest message is beyond, yes, it's a curriculum. Yes, it has all of the greatest lessons I've taught and the resources and recommendations, but it really teaches you like beyond, right? Because I'm making a lot of references to documentaries, the books that are must reads, right? Over 100, 200 book references in my book. And just going back to us learning, understanding that we come from a great people, inventors, Black inventors. That's something that another thing I do with my students every year, because we don't understand our greatness. We've been, so much Black pain has been perpetuated, down to the fact that it's a reason why I don't watch those videos when people start sending me videos about, you know, Black men getting harassed, Black women getting slain. I don't even watch it, because I already know the agenda behind them trying to perpetuate Black pain, because they don't want us to think that we come from greatness. So getting back to that, getting back to being thirsty for knowledge, reading more. Like social media is literally making us into fucking robots. We don't even know how to have conversations now. People are in relationships with people and they in the phones. You go to restaurants, they in the phones. No one's having real conversation. It feels weird. And you ask someone a deep question, especially in this generation. You ask somebody a question and they look at you like you crazy. They don't even know. Nobody wants to talk about the real shit. Everybody wants to just cover it up. Oh, let me get Dior, Christian Dior. Let me be in this. Everybody wants to cover up. Everybody wants to outdo somebody else. The flex culture, right? The whole flex thing, rather than really get back to it and say, nah, like that's not the way to go. What are we raising our children to be? Because we're the new adults, and we're not taking this shit seriously enough. Not for me, anyway.
And you said you hit that. That should be on our next segment about the phones, because we could be out having a moment with somebody else, but we so fixated on somebody else's life and their maybe not their life, but we want to know what's going on.
What's next? What's next?
What's going on this? Look at whose stories. Look at this.
Become slaves to their phones. And, you know, to wrap this up, that's why I'm so appreciative of this space, because I feel like regardless of where we found, I mean, over the past 7-8 years, you know, I've known y'all have grown to, this has grown to be a safe space for me, you know, as I know it's been the same for y'all, you know, and I'm just really grateful for this space, because, you know, we really check in, and I have other spaces where I do that too, but we really check in.
Yeah,
it is truly a blessing, you know, and I love y'all, and I really do appreciate y'all.
Same.
And this was really beautiful. It's 8:14, so I feel like we've been going for 2 hours and 14 minutes. But see, we could do this all night. This is our thing.
They don't even know. Right.
Lord,
you know, so I just want to spend, you know, the last couple of seconds just really thanking y'all, because again, we all busy. We could be doing anything, and y'all doing this shit for free. You know, and I recognize who my friends are. You know, I mean, you know, one day we will be known to the world, not based off this shit, but based off what y'all doing in your own personal lives. Kim, published author. Ayana, you are about to be a published author like this. Like I recognize who I'm sitting in front of.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that.
Yes.
I love
No,
that.
for real.
I
I'm not
love
just
that.
bullshitting or
That's
saying
like,
it
no,
because
we
it
know.
sound good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Right,
I'm not
and
just
that
saying
hit a
it because
spot.
it sounds
That
good.
really,
This is real life. I recognize who's in
yeah,
front of me, and
yeah,
I am honored.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And think,
this was
yeah,
great, and yeah, I feel good about this. This is
I
good.
like this.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
know
I love
what?
it.
Let's close
This
this
is
out because it's Sunday, right? And Monday starts the new work week.
yeah.
So, what are a couple of words of affirmation that you would tell yourself to enter the new work week, or not even just work week, just the new week? You know, because I know we all got goals that we're working on. You know, so let's end with some positivity.
Okay. I would tell myself I would tell this to myself and to others, to be gentle with yourself,
Yes,
especially when we're working on our craft is basically a part of our work week, you know.
absolutely.
And I would say to be gentle with yourself and to not overwhelm yourself, to do things one day at a time. It's been times last week where I wanted to do 3 things in one day, but I got one of them done. And I said, okay, that's cool because today is Tuesday. I got that done. So
Right.
tomorrow's Wednesday and I'll get that done on Wednesday. And I won't overload myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being a mental health, being a mental wellness advocate, that also ties in. It coincides with that to be gentle with yourself and take the time that you need for yourself when it comes to your work. Even if it's your craft, it's your hobby, take time to yourself. And like I say all the time, it may sound cliche, but I'm gonna end off on this note: protect your peace. Protect your peace. I'm done.
Absolutely, that was beautiful.
I
Yana,
love
yeah, go.
that. Yes, this is first of all, this is an amazing question, Melanie. I love it. I think everyone should do this like every week just to kind of manifest. But my first thing would definitely be self-care, like self-care in its whole. We talk about self-care so much. We think it's just, baths and getting your nails done, but really self-care, like putting yourself first, like lately, someone asked me to go somewhere. If I don't feel like going, I'm not going. If I feel like my body needs rest, I'm taking that time to rest. If I feel like I don't want to talk on the phone right now, I'm taking that time too. And, being a people pleaser for so long, for all my life, it's just really liberating. So I would definitely say self-care, continuing that, taking my moments to journal when I'm feeling frustrated, when I'm feeling like cursing somebody out, when I'm feeling anxious about something and my mind is racing, like remembering to take those moments to journal. Definitely tapping into gifts. Again, like we're all manifesting. Melanie with this podcast, manifestation. Kim with your book as an author. Me, getting ready to publish my book at the end of this month. Like we're all manifesting and living our dreams. So I like a goal for myself and for everyone else. I recommend you tap into your gifts. Like we sitting on millions, right? I'm glad. I'm happy to see the Black community now circulating. The money is circulating in our community. Like the entrepreneurship is rising. Black women, we are the highest in the entrepreneurship game right now. So I just say, just tap into your gifts and your purpose. Like if you feel like a 9 to 5 is dragging you down, you have a job, like stop feeling guilty. If you want to do something else, just go for it. Go for it. And the last thing I would say is just my relationship with God. Y'all know my uncle just recently passed, and the pastor, right, this weekend for his funeral just spoke so much life. And when he talked about the word and just talked about God and talked about the reminders and all the evil and that's happening in the world and how we got to stay centered, and people are smoking and drinking and just doing all these things and feeling like they're drowning and have yet to seek God, right? So I know for me going into this week, like I have to make time to pray. We got to pray. That's what the pastor said too. We have to pray when things are going great, and we got to pray when things are not going so great. And I think that would truly, I know for me personally, that's going to bring me more peace because I've been feeling like something's missing. And a lot of times it's just like God is the answer. So getting back into that space, listening to more gospel, and really just being mindful of what I allow, like going back to what Kim just says, like protecting your peace. I'm gonna just continue to trump on that. Is violent. We see it so much, but really really protecting your peace. What does that look like for you? What does that feel like? And even if, you know, we have to stop thinking about how are people going to take, how are my friends going to take, how is my partner going to take, how is my mother going, my father, my sister, right? We think about everyone else, but we don't think about how do you feel in this moment? Are you happy? Is this what you want? And then just go from there. So I'll leave it there.
That everything, you know, okay, this is what's going on. So I'm gonna put my phone down for 30 minutes and I'm gonna lock in on what I need to do. You know, so I just feel like my advice is just action. Like the talk is beautiful, it's great, it's lovely, you know, it flows, but just action. You know, and I mean, y'all kind of said everything.
I think the practices are good.
Yeah, I had to throw on a Bishop TD Jakes sermon on yesterday.
Absolutely.
You know how they cut it down on clips, and it's one of my favorite clips. It's like about 7 or 8 minutes, but I just kept playing it back because I was in a space where I wanted to tell somebody something that wasn't going to come out too good, the best way. And I just said, well, what did Bishop T.D. Jakes say about this? Oh, okay. Don't force nobody into loving you. And this ain't even just about relationships. This like family, you know, like this ain't even about relationships, you know. Don't force nobody into calling you. Don't force and as much as I wanted to say certain things, I just kept replaying Bishop T.D. Jakes on my phone yesterday on a sermon. I went on YouTube and I just replayed it like about 4 or 5 times. And after that, I'm like, okay, Kim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, spiritual food is just as important as food. You know, you have to feed your spirit. You know, you won't survive. I mean, the world is crazy. So it's the chance of surviving without feeding your spirit is
yeah. I want to say this. I want to touch bases on social media next time. I want to touch more. I want to touch bases.
We at the 2-hour mark. And y'all will be guests again. And again, I just want to say again how appreciative I am. You know, I love y'all. You know, y'all are a part of my tribe. Real shit. You know, we get on each other's nerves. Yeah. Okay. You know I get on y'all nerves, but you know, y'all are a part of my tribe and I love y'all.
I think that's what every friend though. If your friend don't get on your nerves,
any real relationship,
real friend.
That's what any real
friend.
People don't be talking about stuff and be feeling stuff on the inside, but we talk.
And that's an episode for another day.
Okay.
But I just really thank y'all and I love y'all. And this is great.
I love you.
Thank you for having me. This is beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna
thank you.
Great way to end the night.
Love you, ladies.
Bye.